Star Wars, Young Jedi Knights, The Lost Ones, Chapter 11. After what seemed like an eternity, Zeke fought his way back to consciousness. He felt as if a million volts had shot through his body, short-circuiting half his nerves and leaving his muscles tingly and twitching. His head ached. The hard metal floor beneath his body oozed a cruel chill. The hard white light hurt his eyes. When he sat up, he had to blink away sparkling colored spots. Waiting for his vision to focus, Zeke finally realized there was nothing to see, only blank, whitish gray walls. He had found a little speaker grill and the vent for an air circulation system, but nothing else. He couldn't even find the door. Zeke knew he must be in some kind of cell. He remembered struggling with evil-looking people who had captured him in the lower city, a black-haired woman with violet eyes and a strange scanning device, and a dark young man who stunned him. "Hey!" he yelled. His voice sounded rough and hoarse. "Hey, where am I?" He got to his feet, swaying from dizziness, and made his way to the nearest wall. He hammered on the metal plates, shouting for attention. He worked his way around the small room, but found no door crack. He stumbled to the speaker and shouted into it. "Somebody tell me what's going on here. You have no right to take me prisoner." In spite of his brave words, Zeke knew things that Jay and Jason, raised within the protective confines of the law and guarded by security forces all their lives, had never understood. Zeke knew that his rights couldn't be protected if someone had the power to take them away. No one would fight for him. No one would send military fleets to rescue him. If Zeke disappeared, there would be no public outcry. Few people would even notice. "Hey!" he shouted again, kicking the wall. "Why am I a prisoner? Why do you want me?" He whirled as he heard the whooshing sound on the opposite side of the room. A rough door slid aside to reveal a powerful-looking man, flanked by stormtroopers. The man was tall and wore silvery robes. His hair was blonde and neat, his face gentle and complacent. His exceedingly handsome features looked finely made as a sculpture. The man's very existence exuded an aurora of peace and calm. "Aren't you overreacting a bit?" the man said. His rich voice hummed with power and charisma. "We came as soon as we realized you were awake. You could have hurt yourself by pounding so hard on the walls." Zeke did not allow himself to relax. "I want to know why I'm here," he said. "Let me go. My friends will be looking for me." "No, they won't." The man shook his head. "We have enough information about you to know that. But don't worry." "Don't worry?" Zeke sputtered. "How can you say—" He stopped short as the man's words struck home. No, his friends wouldn't be looking for him, would they? He doubted Jaina and Jason would want to be seen with him after the debacle of the diplomatic banquet. "What do you mean?" he asked in a subdued voice. The man in the silvery robes gestured to the guards. The stormtroopers waited outside as the man entered the cell alone, sealing the door behind him. "I see they put you in our least extravagant quarters," he sighed. "We'll find you a more comfortable room as soon as possible." "Who are you?" Zeke said, still not letting his guard down. "Why did you stun me?" "My name is Brackus, and I apologize for the enthusiasm of my colleague Timothy Kai, but I do believe she authorized the use of force only because of your struggles. If you had cooperated, it would have been a much more pleasant experience." "I didn't know being kidnapped was supposed to be pleasant," Zeke snarled. "Kidnapped?" Brackus said in feigned alarm. "Let's not jump to conclusions till we've got the whole story." "Then explain it to me," Zeke said. "All right," Brackus smiled. "Would you like any refreshment? Something warm to drink?" Just tell me what's going on." Brackus pressed his hands together. His silvery robes flickered around him like rippling water under a cloudy sky. "I have some news for you. Good news. I hope you'll agree, though it may come as something of a shock." "What?" Zeke asked, frowning skeptically. "Are you aware that you have Jedi potential?" Zeke's green eyes widened. Jedi? Me? I think you've got the wrong person. Brackus grinned. Fairly strong potential. We were surprised ourselves. Didn't your friends Jason and Jaina tell you? Weren't you aware? I don't have any Jedi potential, Zeke mumbled. I couldn't have anything like that. And why not? Brackus asked, raising his eyebrows. He seemed so reasonable. He waited for Zeke to answer, and finally the boy looked down at his hands. Because I'm just a street kid, I'm a nobody. Jedi Knights are great protectors of the New Republic. They're powerful, and Brackus nodded impatiently. Yes, they are, but the potential to be a Jedi has nothing to do with where you live or how you were raised. The Force knows no economic boundaries. Luke Skywalker himself was just a foster son of a moisture farmer. Why shouldn't a poor kid like you have just as much Jedi ability, for instance, a politician's twin children who live in luxury with all their needs cared for? In fact, Brackus said in a lower voice, it could be that because your life has been so tough, your true potential as a Jedi has been honed even sharper than the potential of those pampered little brats. They're not brats, Zeke retorted. They're my friends. Brackus dismissed his comment with a casual wave. Whatever. How come I never knew about this? How come I never felt anything? Zeke asked. He suddenly realized what Tamiti Kai had been scanning for with her strange electronic device. Brackus rocked back on his heels. You might not know you had any Force talent if no one ever trained you. It's a simple enough thing to measure, though. If Jaina and Jason were such close friends, I'm shocked to think they never bothered to test you. Isn't it true that Master Skywalker is desperately looking out for more Jedi Knights? Zeke nodded uncomfortably. Well, if that's so, Brax continued, why didn't they test everyone around them? Why would they just dismiss you out of hand, Zeke? I think they've shortchanged you. They probably never even imagined that a street kid, a low-born scramp, could be worthy of Jedi training, no matter what his innate potential. That isn't it, Zeke muttered, but his words carried no strength. Have it your way, Brackus shrugged. Zeke looked away through the featureless walls of the cell. Though the featureless walls of the cell could give him nothing else to stare at. He waved a hand around the intricate, cold, close cell. What is this place? He asked, trying to change the subject. This place is the Shadow Academy, Brackus said. And Zeke was startled to recognize the name of the hidden station where Jane and Jason had been held against their will. I am in charge of the new training new Jedi for the Second Imperium. I'll use different methods than Master Skywalker follows at the Yavin 4 Training Center. Brackus followed sympathetically. But then you wouldn't know, would you? Your friends never took you there. His voice looked up in question. Did they? Even for a visit? Well, I am new Jedi. Zeke shook his head. Powerful warriors to help bring back the glory and order of the new empire. The Rebel Alliance is a criminal movement. You wouldn't understand that because you're too young to remember what it was like under the Emperor Palpatine. I hate the Empire, Zeke said. No, you don't, Brackus assured him. Your friends have told you to hate the Empire, but you never witnessed any of it firsthand. You've only seen their versions of history. You realize, of course, that whatever government is in charge always makes the defeated enemy look like a monster. I'll tell you the truth. The Empire had very little political chaos. Every person had opportunities. There were no gangs running wild even through the streets of Coruscant. Everyone had a task to do, and they did it willingly. Besides, what does galactic politics have to do with you, young Zeke? You've never been concerned with such things. Would your life really change if the chief of state were displaced by a different politician in a different empire? If you work with us, on the other hand, your life would be much more improved. Zeke shook his head, clasping clamping his teeth together. I won't betray my friends, he growled. Oh, your friends, Brecca said. Oh, yes. Yes, the ones who never tested you for Jedi potential. The ones who only come to visit you when it fits their social schedule. They're going to leave you behind, you know, as they find more important work to do. They'll forget about you as fast as you won't have time to blink. No, Zeke whispered. No, they won't. Tell me, what does your future hold for you? Zeke continued, his voice persuasive. Certainly, you've made friends and that move in rich and important circles. But will you ever be part of that? Be honest with yourself. Zeke didn't answer, though he knew the truth deep in his heart. You'll be scavenging for the rest of your years, stealing trinkets to earn enough credits for your next meal. Do you really have any chance for power or glory or importance of your own? Again, Zeke refused to answer. If you work with us, on the other hand, your life could be much improved. Zeke shook his head, clamping his teeth together. I won't betray my friends, he growled. Your friends, Brecca said. Oh, yes, the ones who never tested you for Jedi potential. The ones who only come to visit you when it fits their social schedule. They're going to leave you behind, you know, as they find more important work to do. They'll forget about you as fast as you won't have time to blink. No, Zeke whispered, they won't. Certainly you've made friends that move in rich and important circles. Will you ever be part of that? Be honest with yourself. Zeke didn't answer, but he thought he knew the truth deep in his heart. You'll be scavenging for the rest of your life. You'll not be moving up. You'll be no power, no glory. Again, Zeke refused to answer. Brackus leaned forward, his beautifully chiseled feature radiating kindness and concern. I'm offering you that chance, boy. Are you brave enough to take it? Zeke searched for the strength to resist, focused on a thread of anger. The same chance you offered to Jaina and Jason. They told me how you kidnapped them, brought them to the Shadow Academy, and tortured them. Tortured them? Baracus laughed and shook his blond head. I suppose after being pampered all their lives, a bit of hard work might seem like torture. I offered to train them to become powerful Jedi. I admit that was a mistake. We wanted young Jedi Knights to train, but the candidates we invited were too high profile. The risk was greater than we had anticipated, and it called too much attention to our academy. So I decided to change my plan. As I told you, the Force moves as strongly within the less fortunate as does though within the rich and powerful. Your social status doesn't concern me in the least, Zeke. Only your talent and your willingness to develop it. Timothy Kai and I have decided to search among the lower levels of society for people whose potential is just as great among those in higher levels, and yet those whose disappearance won't cause such a stir. People with the incentive to work with us. Zeke scowled, but Brackus's eyes blazed. If you join us, I'll guarantee you the name of Zeke will never be ignored or forgotten. The cell door opened again, and a stormtrooper held out a tray with steaming beverages and delicious-looking pastries. Let's have a snack while we keep talking, Brackus said. I trust most of your questions have been answered, but feel free to ask anything else you wish. Zeke realized he was ferociously hungry, and he took 3 of the pastries, licking his lips as he ate them. He had never tasted anything so wonderful in his life. The implications of Brackus's words terrified him, but the questions about his future bubbled to the surface again and again in his mind. Although Zeke didn't want to admit it, he could not shake the feeling that Brackus and his promises made a lot of sense. As Brackus sealed the door behind him on his way out, he turned to the stormtrooper guards in the hall. See that the boy gets a nicer room, he said. I don't think we'll have much trouble with him. The master of the Shadow Academy glided down the corridor as the old TIE pilot marched up to report. Coral was still in his black armored suit and cradled the skull-like helmet in his powerful droid arm. The captured rebel cruiser Adamant is now enclosed within our shields, Lord Brachus, he said. Its weaponry is being offloaded even as we speak. Brachus smiled broadly. Excellent. Was it as big a shipment as we had expected? Quirrell nodded. Affirmative, sir. The hyperdrive cores and turbolaser batteries will enable us to virtually double the Second Imperium's military strength. It's a wise move to strike now. Brachus folded his hands together, letting the flowing silvery sleeves swallow them up. Most excellent. Everything is proceeding as planned. I will report to our great leader and tell him the good news. Before long, the Empire will shine again, and these rebels can do nothing to prevent it.